Y&R Spoilers reveal the surprises when Lily meets her ex-husband after many years apart. What will happen when Lily meets Dumas again to bring surprises to the Y&R plot? But never before has the atmosphere been as seething with suspicion, expectation, and fear as before the party organized by Aristotle Dumas. This event is not simply a lavish gathering, but it also carries too many secrets, conspiracies, connections, and fault lines between the oldest forces of Genoa City, and all are caught up in the vortex named Dumas. Dumas has long been a character that both the Newman and Abbott families are curious and wary of. No one can guess his true purpose when he set foot in Genoa City, creating mysterious transactions, quietly influencing many power plays. But what makes the two biggest families in the city stir is the shocking revelation about the person behind the Dumas empire, none other than Cane Ashby, the man who seemed to have left all the storms behind, but is actually the brain, the biggest shareholder behind everything Dumas owns. For Lily Winters, that truth is like a heavy blow to everything she once believed in, especially when the feelings between her and Cane had gone through so many ups and downs, tears, pain, and hope. Now, when all the naked truth is exposed before her eyes, Lily is forced to make a decision to face or run away, forgive or expose, stand by her family or choose to continue alone. The party held at Dumas's seaside villa in Nice, France was arranged by him with great sophistication, but also with great calculation. Dumas was the type of person who liked to test the courage of his guests, and the invitation to the party on Friday the 13th was no coincidence. For Dumas, every detail had meaning. Everyone who set foot in this villa would be drawn into a dangerous game, where every glance, every laugh, every glass of sparkling wine contained ominous premonitions. That night, the Dumas villa became the center of attention of the upper class. Luxurious cars quietly stopped in front of the gate. Each powerful figure stepped down with composure but could not hide their vigilance. From the Newman house, Victoria appeared in a dark velvet dress, her eyes cold and calculating. Nick walked with Sharon, his face covered with a serious expression that could not hide his curiosity, always looking around as if to find some unusual sign. Abby chose an elegant dress, but her eyes constantly scanned the surrounding space, because for her, any gathering related to Dumas was not just a party, but also a test of trust between generations of businessmen. The Abbotts were not to be outdone. Jack Abbott arrived with Tracy, the two Abbott brothers walked through the gate of bright white roses. But neither of them were at peace. Jack had faced off against, and even reluctantly cooperated with, Dumas many times. So he understood better than anyone that this party would be a place where many potential dangers would be exposed. Kyle Abbott, young and enthusiastic, could not hide his excitement and anxiety when entering the space controlled by Dumas. What was special was that Lily Winters appeared quietly, walking alone. But it was that loneliness that made her the focus of curious looks and whispers throughout the auditorium. Those who knew Lily could see the pensiveness, the strength, and the conflict in her eyes tonight. Even in the midst of a lavish party, Lily seemed isolated, carrying the weight of a storm about to erupt on her shoulders. The party began with the usual social rituals, expensive French wine sparkling in the crystal chandeliers, the murmur of laughter, small groups gathered to discuss business, mergers, and the latest international investments. But as the night wore on, the atmosphere became more tense and mysterious, especially when the host of the party had not yet appeared. Rumors began to swirl. Everyone wondered if Dumas was deliberately late to control the mood of the guests, or was it just a trick to test the patience of the upper class? Suddenly there was a burst of applause. The dim lights gradually dimmed, leaving only a patch of light at the end of the hall. Dumas appeared, walking leisurely, wearing a luxurious black suit, his bright eyes scanning each guest as if examining and challenging. The crowd automatically quieted down, giving space to the host of the party. Dumas said nothing, just smiled, raised his glass to greet the guests, but in that light handshake and polite nod, everyone clearly felt an invisible pressure spreading throughout the room. Dumas began with polite compliments about the good fortune, the courage of everyone to come here on what most Westerners considered an unlucky day. He spoke of mystery, of destiny, of things that no one could control but themselves. Each sentence of Dumas seemed to strike at each person's mind, as if he knew exactly what they carried with them, ambitions, worries, secrets, or fears of being exposed. Lily could feel each invisible needle pointed at her, and she knew that, tonight, sooner or later, everything would have to be resolved. As people began to disperse, Breaking into groups to talk, the air in the room was filled with unspoken questions. Victoria approached Jack, trying to find out more about Dumas's true purpose in inviting everyone to France. Sharon whispered to Nick her concern. Was Dumas planning something against the Newmans? Tracy exchanged a sympathetic look with Lily, but also filled with doubts about her unpredictable future. At that moment, Cane Ashby suddenly appeared. The whole room seemed to fall silent for a moment. No one expected him to dare to appear in the middle of the storm, especially after all the secrets about him and Dumas were revealed. Cane looked straight at Lily, a heavy silence between them. That look carried so many unspoken words: regret, love, and also the hope for an opportunity to explain. But Lily just shook her head slightly, suppressing all her emotions. She knew that every decision today would affect not only her future, but also her family, the honor and trust she had built up over the years. As the party gradually ended late at night, Dumas took the initiative to invite the guests to move out to the garden, where the shimmering light from the rows of yellow lamps shone on each row of olive trees. Each paving stone seemed to bear traces of untold secrets. In that space, Dumas began his psychological game. He invited each person to share their greatest fears, the secrets they were willing to bury forever. Victoria tried to stay calm, avoiding Dumas's deep questions. Jack cleverly turned the conversation to business. Nick responded coldly with silence, while Abby lost her composure a bit when Dumas mentioned the rifts within the Newman family. When it was Lily's turn, Dumas looked at her with a more special gaze. He asked Lily if she was afraid of anything, what she was most afraid of losing. Lily slowly answered. She was more afraid of losing herself than anything else, afraid of losing her self-respect, trust, and the true meaning of love. The atmosphere seemed to quiet down. All eyes turned to Lily. Those words were not only for her, but also like a message sent to Cane, to Dumas, and to everyone who was caught in the vortex of power, lies, and betrayal. As the night gradually turned to morning, the party is not only a place to show off wealth and power, but also a place where secrets and intrigues gradually emerge. Lily realizes that she cannot let the past decide the future. While Dumas is satisfied with having shaken the pride and masks of each person, the members of the Newman, Abbott family also begin to see more clearly the boundaries, the weaknesses and the potential for connection in a world where the strong will always know how to exploit fear to control everything. Lily quietly leaves the villa, leaving behind unanswered questions, the eyes still following her. She knows that, although tonight has ended the game of power, suspicion and even heartache will haunt the families in Genoa City for a long time after that. As for Dumas, he smiles mysteriously as he watches each guest leave, knowing that he is still the only one who controls all the rules of the game. Thus, the Friday the 13th party in Nice became an unforgettable memory in everyone's heart, the starting point of a new series of changes, where everyone was forced to face themselves and all the things they feared the most. And in that world, only those brave enough to overcome their darkness could stand firm against the never-ending undercurrents of Genoa City. The atmosphere of Genoa City these days seems to be thickened by a layer of mysterious fog. Throughout the corridors of the Winters Company, the luxurious offices of Newman Enterprises, and even the hidden corners of the Abbott family, the name Aristotle Dumas echoes hauntingly, stimulating curiosity and causing countless doubts. But at the center of all the rumors and debates, no one expected that the real man behind Dumas was a familiar face, a man who had walked beside Lily Winters throughout the ups and downs. Cane Ashby. Billy Flynn, who had just joined the film crew, appeared with a cold demeanor, unpredictable eyes and the aura of a powerful and mysterious person, successfully portraying the character of Dumas, making everyone almost forget the real figure behind this mask. But behind all the glamour is a bitter truth. Dumas is none other than Cane, Lily's ex-husband, the father of her children, and the only person who has ever been able to touch the deepest corners of her heart. Lily Winters is not someone who is easily swayed by rumors. She has experienced enough storms, losses, and pains that only those who have loved and been betrayed can understand. But this time everything is completely different. From the moment Dumas appeared on the business scene, a mysterious, talented person with strange moves that made many large corporations wary, Lily felt a great danger quietly surrounding her family. She devoted all her mind to solving this case. Every data, every email, every financial report, even seemingly trivial conversations were tirelessly reviewed by Lily. Amanda, a close friend and trusted colleague, had repeatedly advised Lily to stay calm and not let herself be consumed by a corporate ghost that might have nothing to do with her personally. But Lily's instincts told her that Dumas was more than just a competitor. There was something deeper, more personal, and it would be fatal if she didn't find out the truth soon. The deeper Lily dug, the more the clues seemed to lead back in a tight circle, as if Dumas knew her every move, knew her strengths and weaknesses, knew how to play on her pride and insecurities that she had tried to hide for so long. Sometimes Lily even felt like she was playing a game of chess with her own past. The Newmans and Abbotts were both present. Victoria with sharp eyes, Nick like a vigilant darkness, Jack Abbott thoughtfully observing every move. Each person had a plan. But everyone knew that Dumas would not simply invite them to chat. Lily stood by the window looking out at the dark sea, her heart uneasy. She felt the storm of emotions rising little by little. Not just worry about the company but also a deep obsession with the past about Cane. Amanda came to her side, gently reassuring her. "You did well, Lily. Maybe Dumas is not what you think." But Lily's eyes only shone with determination. She did not believe in easy things, especially when every corner of this event was shadowed by the shadow of someone she used to know very well. The party began to move to a climax when Dumas appeared, tall and thin, neat black suit, half smile and a gaze that seemed to penetrate all the facades. He raised his glass to welcome all the guests, talking about fate, about the truth, about things no one expected. The atmosphere suddenly became gloomy when Dumas began to talk about masks and honesty. Each of his words was like a cold knife cutting through everyone's mind. Then the fateful moment came. Dumas invited each representative of the families to speak, sharing business lessons about honesty and partnerships. When it was Lily's turn, she spoke loudly about the value of trust. That in business as in life, trust is the foundation, but also the most vulnerable. Dumas nodded, smiling, but there was something strange in his eyes. Before all eyes could turn away, Dumas removed the half-face mask he had been wearing as a game all evening, and for a moment, the whole room held its breath. Behind that face was Cane Ashby. Everyone was stunned, but Lily was the one who truly broke down. No one could imagine Lily's feelings at that moment. Shock, anger, pain, and humiliation at realizing she had been deceived by the person who had been her home, her family, her closest friend. Cane, the man she once loved passionately. The father of her children was the one behind all the troubles and conspiracies, causing her family to fall into ruin and her to endure days of confusion, doubt, and self-torment. Without waiting for Cane to speak, Lily walked up to face him. All eyes were on them. An unexpected and unwanted reunion. She asked directly in a trembling but proud voice. "Why? Why did you do all this? Why didn't you tell me from the beginning?" Cane lowered his head, slightly confused, then looked up with a pained gaze. "I just want to be the master of my own destiny once. To prove myself. To you, to the children, to this world. But I'm afraid. Afraid you will never forgive me." But to Lily, the truth is always more important than anything. She didn't care what reason Cane gave because for her the most painful thing was not what was lost, but the betrayal, the feeling of being despised. Being led by the nose by the person she trusted more than anyone else in the world. She had the right to be angry, the right to condemn, the right to expose everything. And that was exactly what she did right in the middle of that luxurious party. Lily did not hesitate to criticize Cane in front of everyone, so that everyone could see Dumas' true face. So that Cane himself had to face the consequences of his choices. She affirmed that even if everything fell apart, she would still stand firm. Protect her family, protect her own values and those of the Winters Company. That unforgettable event became a fateful moment, not only for Lily but also for everyone present. The great families all realized that, in this world, the strong are not necessarily the smartest, and lies, no matter how cleverly concealed, will be exposed when the time comes. As for Lily, she knew she would never be a victim again. Cane's betrayal was the motivation for her to become stronger, more courageous, and learn to love and trust herself first. As for Cane, after that night, all of Dumas's halo also disappeared with the sea wind. He had to face his own conscience, with the irreparable wounds to Lily and the children. But that was the price he had to pay for all the lies, for all the things he had done. And when the party lights gradually dimmed, Lily stood alone on the balcony. her heart light as if she had just walked through a big storm. She knew that tomorrow would come again, and everything would have to start again, with truth, with strength, and with a heart that was no longer afraid of anything. The atmosphere inside the Villa Aristotle Dumas was thicker than ever. Tonight, this place was not only the center of a lavish party but also the final game of all the secrets, doubts, and unanswered pains. From the moment the invitations were sent out, everyone knew that this party would not simply be a gathering of Genoa City's businessmen, but a place where history would be rewritten, where masks would fall and the truth would be revealed under the brightest lights. As soon as she stepped into the great hall, Lily Winters felt curious eyes, whispers, and ominous premonitions. For weeks she had been walking in a maze. Shady financial reports, strange deals, partners who suddenly disappeared, all bearing the fingerprints of Dumas, the powerful but always hidden behind the mist of mystery. She had promised herself that no one, be they enemies or former friends, would destroy her family's business, her parents' reputation, or her children's future. But no matter how strong Lily was, she could never have imagined that every trace, every secret, every piece of this game would lead straight to the person she once trusted the most, Cane Ashby. Pain, shock, anger, all of it seemed to engulf Lily in the moment she discovered that her ex-husband, the father of her children, the man who had promised never to hurt her, was the one behind all of her recent nightmares. The atmosphere at the party became increasingly tense as the guests, members of the Newman family, the Abbott family, even international partners, all whispered about the absence of the host. Rumors spread like wildfire, everyone waiting for the moment Dumas would appear and reveal his true identity. In a corner of the great hall, Amanda gently reassured Lily, "You are not alone. No matter what happens, Winters will stand firm." But in Lily's heart, those reassuring words were just a thin shield against the storm. The music suddenly stopped. The lights dimmed, leaving only a beam of light shining straight down the grand staircase. Dumas appeared tall, elegant, and with the demeanor of a living statue. He smiled, striding in his black suit, his cold eyes scanning each guest as if both welcoming and warning. No one noticed any flaws, but Lily, with the intuition of someone who had loved deeply, felt something hauntingly familiar. The host raised his glass, congratulating everyone for daring to face fate on an ominous Friday the 13th night. His words echoed, each word like a knife cutting into each person's worries. Dumas began his psychological game, asking each person to tell him their greatest fear, their greatest secret. The Newmans and Abbotts cleverly avoided him, but Lily could not hide her anxiety, the anger that was building up in her heart. When no one expected it, Dumas took off his half-mask, and time seemed to stop. Billy Flynn, playing Dumas, revealed his true form. Behind all the drama was Cane Ashby, the man Lily thought she knew all along. All eyes turned to Lily. For a moment, old memories flooded back, happy days, forgiveness, breakups. But today, only resentment and betrayal surged. Cane tried to say something, but before he could say anything, Lily stepped forward without warning and slapped him across the cheek like a thunderbolt from a clear sky. The sound echoed through the hall, silencing everyone. Lily stood before Cane, her eyes blazing with the strength of a woman who had suffered too much, who had forgiven too many times but could no longer bear it. "You deserve this, and more." Her voice was sharp, each word as heavy as a bullet. Cane stood still. On his cheek, the mark of Lily's hand was red. Not just a physical wound but also a surge of humiliation, disappointment, and regret. Every guest seemed to explode. Everyone wanted to rush to question Cane, to throw questions at him about the reasons, about the motives, about the pain he had caused Lily and her loved ones.